Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, January the 23rd. This morning, we put out another very exciting RNS covering our 100% owned Garfield project located in mining-friendly Nevada. And today's RNS is it's a bit of a technical one, so I wanted to hop on here and just provide an additional color on a few of the main elements to help listeners and investors to sort of get under the hood, so to say, and understand better why we're so excited about these developments. So what we're looking at here, as many listeners I'm sure are aware of now, is the current Garfield project outline. Northwest here, we have the power line zone, which trends northeast, southwest. Here in the central part, we have the high grade zone, and then to the southeast, we have the recently discovered Pamlico gold zone. And as a quick reminder, when we first acquired the property, we had a small claim holding just over this area here. We've since expanded to cover what is now a very exciting 4 kilometer long footprint with high grade copper, silver, and gold. And what we'll do is we'll just quickly touch on the discovery of Bonanza silver. And this is something that very much surprised me. I did not expect to see silver this high, if I'm being completely honest. What was interesting was in this area here, the high grade zone, this is where we're seeing the majority of our porphyry type alteration and mineralization. And as a quick reminder, porphyry deposits are very, very important sources of copper and silver and gold globally, typically lower grade deposits, but much larger tonnage. So, you're expecting 0.4, 0.5% copper with maybe, 0.2, 0.3 gram per ton gold and maybe 2, 3 gram per ton silver if you're lucky. So those are typically the grades that we're looking for with these type of systems. And so when we started to see much, much higher gold and silver grades, certainly the questions that I had were increasing and becoming more numerous to try to figure out, okay, well, why is the system so enriched in gold and silver? And obviously, that's a good problem to have as a CEO of a company that owns this asset 100%. So we had a detailed geochemical analysis completed over the entire data set. That was done in conjunction with our very experienced our geochemists, I should say. So all the different element ratios are reviewed to get a better picture as to what we're looking at here from a geochemical standpoint. And one of the things that we noticed was the fact that there's epithermal signatures showing up now. Now, epithermal deposits are typically vein-hosted deposits that are found. There's many that are found throughout Nevada, but they're typically much more gold and silver rich. And for instance, when we now got the over limit silver results, and one of them returned Bonanza grade silver, 1,225 part per million, the alarm bells really went off and said, okay, there's something else happening here, which has materially increased the silver and the gold grades here above what is typical for a porphyry system. And sure enough, when that geochemical analysis was complete, what we started to see were these epithermal signatures showing up. And so the question was, okay, are we looking at a porphyry or are we looking at epithermal? But we know we have very defined porphyry type mineralization alteration here, specifically within the high grade zone. So what we actually have now discovered, or what the kind of the current thesis is now, that we had a later overprinting epithermal event. So what that means is we had the formation of a porphyry system, which led to a lot of the copper grades that you're seeing in this very large footprint. So the porphyry comes up through the subsurface, and fluids come up and deposit these porphyry type copper, silver, gold fluids, and just based on the proximity and the layout of this high grade zone, you can see my mouse here. We figured there's some sort of porphyry system or center that's driving a lot of the fluid flow somewhere in this vicinity where we're seeing some of our best results. But now with this epithermal signatures that we're seeing as well, what we believe has happened is at a later date, so you had initially the formation of the porphyry system, and then at a later date, an epithermal system came through here and overprinted the porphyry signatures that we're seeing. So what this means is that geologically, the epithermal system mineralization came at a later date and overprinted. So what you'll see is cross-cutting textures, veins across your porphyry style mineralization. And this is a bit technical of an overview and explanation, but the kind of the main takeaway point with this new hypothesis is the fact that what you're going to see is materially increased gold and silver prospectivity. So we have our copper, system, our porphyry system with very, very nice copper grades, as you can see here, 5.5%, 3.2%, 4.3%. But because of that later epithermal system coming through here, it's leading to increased silver and gold grades within the porphyry system because it cross-cut the porphyry system. So that's a really exciting development for us, obviously, because now we're seeing much higher gold and silver values than what would typically be found in a porphyry type setting or a porphyry type system. And in particular, I'll just quickly turn off the copper. Now, what we're looking at here is just the gold grades. As you can see here, especially down in this Pamlico gold zone, we had 5 samples taken, all which returned multi-gram gold. And as you can see here, 18.35 gram per ton gold. And that's actually the sample that ran Bonanza silver, 1,225 gram per ton. And once again, up in our main porphyry system as well, we're seeing similar type epithermal signatures and gold grades with 27.2 grams per ton. So we have a porphyry system, what we believe to be a later overprinted epithermal system, leading to the high copper, but also really high gold and silver as well for this type of environment. So that's kind of the first development from this RNS that I thought was very exciting. But then the next question was, okay, well, we have very high grade copper, silver, and zinc over a very large area here at Garfield. But now what we're looking for, and the next step of this process is to say, okay, well, where is this fluid all coming from? As we move from sort of surface level to now what's in the subsurface here and what's potentially going to look like a drill target. And so the question that we asked was, okay, well, where is the potential porphyry center? Where is the main magmatic intrusion that came through here and drove all of this mineralization across the property within the area? So what we're typically looking for in these porphyry type systems is some sort of magnetic high. And the reason that a magnetic high is important is because compared to the rocks that this intrusion comes into, an intrusion is typically more magnetic. So there's more magnetic minerals within there. So what you'll find is sort of a bullseye or some sort of anomaly, which shows that potentially there's the porphyry, which is responsible for all of the mineralization. And ultimately, it's the porphyry that is your source and your sort of your main target, because if the fluids all come off this thing, the main prize is typically closer to that actual porphyry center. So that was the next question that we started to ask was, okay, well, where could a potential causative porphyry or intrusion be here that's driving this mineralization? And to our excitement, actually, an adjacent company flew an airborne radiometrics as well as magnetic survey over the southern part of our claim boundaries. And so we were made aware of this, and we actually were able to digitize those results. And I'll quickly just turn on those digitized results. And as you can see here, so this is the survey that they flew there, which covers sort of the southern part of our property as well as the high grade zone. And as you can see here, they've identified a target. Now, this is actually the radiometrics, and this is uranium in soil. So this was actually, the red circle here was a uranium target that they had found across a few other uranium targets within this area. So that was a very interesting sort of development to say, okay, well, there's a uranium target that another company, and this is the Uranium Focus Explorer, identified, which is effectively completely within our claim boundary. But more importantly here, we're seeing this sort of bullseye type radiometric anomaly. And also on top of that, as mentioned, there was the magnetics that was done. So what I'll do is I'll turn on that uranium target, and we've circled that here, and I'll take off this digitized map, and you'll see where the location of this uranium target is. But more importantly, and leading back to what I referenced earlier, which was the discovery or looking for a potential porphyry center, they also flew the magnetics as well with the radiometrics. And that was the location of a very clear magnetic high anomaly. Now, this is really interesting because, as I mentioned, we're thinking that there's going to be some sort of potential porphyry center proximal to the high grade zone. That would be my postulation as a geologist and someone who's done a lot of porphyry exploration. And to our excitement, and I'll turn off the uranium target just for now, but you'll see there's a porphyry center, or there's some sort of magnetic anomaly here. And the question now is, okay, well, what's causing this increase or this higher magnetic signature? And we believe, based on geological mapping in the area done by the USGS, that this relates to an intrusion or some sort of porphyry intrusion at depth here. So that's a very, very significant development, in my opinion, and the sort of overlapping uranium anomaly as well is very interesting. We have to look more into that. This is a very, very new development that we just became aware of only a few days ago. So all in all, we have the epithermal system overprinting, we have the uranium target, but I think even more importantly is we now have what we believe to be, or what potentially could be, an intrusive center or a porphyry center, which is driving a lot of the fluid flow here at Garfield. So all in all, a lot of different technical elements here at play, but it's leading to a very important and a very, what I believe to be, transformational update for this property, because we've gone from high grade copper, silver, and gold over a very large area to having a much better understanding as to what is at play here, the different sort of geological systems that we're looking for, and more importantly, something at depth here, which is giving off a magnetic signature, which potentially could be our causative porphyry, which is what you're always looking for when you're in these type of environments and within these type of porphyry type systems. So I'll leave it at that. Hopefully that gives you a bit more idea and color as to what we're looking at here and why we're so excited about today's release. We're working very hard in the background now to really continue to understand how all these data sets work together, how the radiometrics are at play here, and how that uranium target fits in. But obviously, very exciting developments here. And I encourage everyone to go to our website, goldenmetalresources.com, or check us out on Twitter. Golden Metal Res is our Twitter handle. We've put out a lot of interesting information about Garfield there. And obviously, this presentation will be available there as well. So we'll leave it at that. And you'll hear from me shortly here as we continue to push this project forward and continue to understand what's going on here and what the next steps are going to be like, and how we can continue to push this asset up the value curve for our investors and stakeholders.